Okay. All right, what I'm showing you here is the system, whole system. Back up here. Wow. Okay, that's the system without the thermal battery covers. Wow. Okay, there we go. Ignore all that shit on the right. Okay, so here we have, I'm going to try to explain to you what I'm looking at, what you're looking at. So these are the 5 batteries are 100 and, well, these 3 are 100 amp hours each, and the 2 on the side, that one and that one, are 105 each. So I have a total of 510 amp hours of battery power. Those little things down there are little space heaters, and the reason being there's an enclosure that goes over all this stuff because it gets so cold up here. It gets it to be 0 sometimes, but it can run in the teens for a lot of days in a row. And in the garage, it can drop below 32 degrees. And these batteries, the little guys, well, all the batteries, they're not supposed to be charging at anything below 32 degrees or 0 Celsius. But the little guys, these 2, they don't have, on the BMS, they don't shut off automatically when it gets down to 32. They just keep charging, and that can damage them. And they're about $2 grand a piece, so you don't want to do that. These are smart enough to know that it's too cold, they shut down. So I put an enclosure around it, like a thermal enclosure, and then these little heaters kick on by this thermostat here. And what I'll set this maybe for, like, I don't know, 30, 40. So that it never goes, 40. I'll set it for 40, 45. And that way it never drops below 32 in the enclosure. So the purpose of this area is right there. Okay, so then we have, these are the inverters. Okay, they convert the battery power into 120. And when I get the solar panels, they'll convert the solar panels into 120 and feed back to the house. Okay, and then that up there is a automatic fire extinguisher. So if all this bursts into flames, that will automatically blow up and put powder all over everything and put the fire out. Yeah, right. See how that goes. Better than not having it, I guess. So, and then these are the input-output panels just for the inverters. The input is going to come from the grid, from outside, the meter, and it will run into the inverters and charge the batteries. But this whole system is designed to not need the grid. Like if the power goes out, it's designed to run off solar. Solar runs the house during the day, charges the batteries all day long, and those batteries, I've tested them. I can run this house no conserving energy, just do what I do every day, normal type, wash clothes, blah, 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 all that stuff for 27 hours on these 5 batteries. So my hope is that the solar panels will have more than enough power to charge the batteries all day long and run the house. And then at nighttime, when the sun's down, the batteries will run the house easily till the next day when the sun comes up. So that's the whole plan behind all this. I do have grid power, so if anything goes wrong, for now, the grid is working and charging the battery. So the fact that I don't have solar panels right now means that this is just a big exercise of muscling these batteries up and down. And it actually costs me more to charge the batteries than it would if I just ran the grid. So this is not about saving money. This is, because saving money, this stuff costs like 20 grand. Maybe 25 total. It'll take me 10 years to recoup it in electricity. So it's not about saving money with electricity. It's about being able to live off grid in case the power system goes down. And the way it sits right now, if I had a power outage, this thing would instantly kick in. You'd never even notice it happened. And the batteries would just take over for 27 hours, as long as they're fully charged. Which right now you can see they're not. They're only at about 56%. Charge, which, what is that? That's going to be, I don't know, 15, 16 hours if they went out right now. So Anyway, this is a little Raspberry Pi that runs the Solar Assistant, which is this software right here that tells you all kinds of stuff about the system. And that's just a switch for the Cat 5 stuff. And okay, in the output panel, this is output from the inverters. The inverters output to this panel. This panel goes to well, I'll show, that's in the next section. This is step 1 and 2 of a 5-step system. So step 1 was to get the inverters installed, wired up to their input and output panels. Step 2 was to get the batteries hooked up, get them working, and I used to use a little battery charger off to the side. That I charged those batteries. It took like days, took 2 or 3 days to charge the batteries, and then I'd run the house through the generator output switch. I used this generator switch, this transfer switch, to run the house on a few circuits, like 7 different circuits. That's all I could run. But they were all the key ones, you know, the living room, bedroom, kitchen, freezers, stuff like that. So that's been there for years. I've been doing that. When we have a power outage, I would just go ahead and use the generators to run the house. So then, okay, with all that said, I think I explained all that. This is the AC input, which means that I can run it through the generator, but by law you can't have 2 inputs. So I have to have this slider breaker that makes sure that I cannot turn the generator and the line on at the same time. And as you can see, I have line coming in, but that was like stage 4 of this project. So I'll show you that in a second. So that's the input, the output, all this crap here, and that's it. I'm going to put the cover on so you can see what that looks like. You can see the thermal cover. Okay, that's the thermal cover, and what that is just styrofoam panels, like a big ice chest is what it really is. So it kind of works both ways, oddly enough. In the wintertime, it will keep, you know, here's my thermometer. That's what it is inside the box, and this little number down here is what it is inside the garage. So when it gets to 32 degrees in the garage and the heaters kick on, you know what I do, I bring it up to about 50 degrees, and this remains 50 degrees inside where the batteries are. That's the whole idea. No matter how cold it gets out here, those thermostats keep those little space heaters running just long enough so they're on and off, on and off, on and off. They don't run real hot. They're only 750 watts each. So, you know, it doesn't get fire hot in there. It just keeps it at 50 degrees is what I'm looking for. And oddly enough, in the summertime, which I'm not there yet, where I'm in spring, but I've had days so far that have been 78 degrees. And when it's 78, 80 degrees in the garage, it's 50 degrees inside the box. So that's kind of cool. We'll see how that works. You know, when it gets really hot up here, and we'll never get above 90. That's pretty rare. If it starts getting real hot in the box, then I'll have to do something about it. But it's real dusty up here, so it's nice to be able to protect the batteries from all the dust. It's real dusty. So, okay. So that's pretty much the inverter solar. We'll call that the solar system. But there's no solar panels yet. I'm still working on that. So anyway, let me show you the other part, step 3 of this whole process. Okay, in this step, I had to hook up the main house panel, the sub panel inside the house. The sub panel is basically what feeds the house, all the circuits in the house, all the lights, all the wall plates, all the circuits in the house is a sub panel. So I wanted to tie into it so that this thing could run the whole house, not just through the transfer switch, which is only 7 circuits. I needed to be able to feed the whole house as if it was coming from the power company. So to do that, I had to there's 7 wires in there, big heavy wires, and they go up and over the garage, and then they come down to here. Now this is output, so it can go to my transfer switch. But then it actually, you know what? I can open this. I was going to say, shut everything down. So then I have these wires that go from the inverter to here, and then this goes to the house, and this comes from the power company. Okay, so it gives me the ability to pull this lever, and then it goes back to how it was before. It takes the inverters out of the equation. It's line from the power pole to the house panel, which is in the house. And then now it's hitting at inverter to the house panel. So line is feeding over there, then it's coming from there back over here and into the house. And that's kind of what that explains everything right there on that chart. It shows exactly what's going on with the whole system, even out to the solar panels, which aren't here, that don't exist. And that's just a camera, so I can kind of look at everything from my command center upstairs. So, and this right here is a transfer switch that you plug a generator into, which I've had this for years. But I also put this output from the inverters so that they can plug in here. There's a lot of different things you can do. So, and then to do that, I had to go under the house, and it's really dark in there. There's no way you can see anything. But I had to run conduit for everything. Everything's in conduit, this 1.5 inch conduit, and then come up under to go into the panel in the house, which I'm going to show you now. Okay, you know what? There's not much to see here. It really is. Man, let me open this up. It's pretty tight. I'm kind of, almost in a closet. So here's my hand. Okay, so I came up this way, behind the transfer switch. I went up to here. It makes a turn right here, and then goes down and into the main panel. And then it connects to all of these. Every one of these circuits are being powered by the solar system now. And I got some slides I'm going to show you what it looks like behind all this stuff. This is a monitor. This monitors 16 circuits, not all of them. I've got 22, so there's a couple I left out that don't matter, like a bathroom in the back. Never takes it. But it monitors, each breaker has its own sensor to tell me how many watts and amps are coming out of each, and it keeps track of it all. So at the end of the month, you can see where all your money went to the power company, or all your electricity went. And then I got a map that shows where everything is, and which is monitored. Like everything has got this little leaf, which is that Emporia leaf. Every one of those are being monitored up there, and got a lot of reflection. Oh well. Anyway, so that's that. This is a transfer switch, so if I turn on, I can flip these to run off the generator. That's what they're for. I mean, that's what transfer switch is for, to run generator. But like I say, I've got the solar system tied into it too if I need to. I don't really need to. Right now, knock on wood, that's steel. Knock on wood, this system's been working great for almost 3 weeks now, flawlessly. It just does what it's supposed to do. So, okay, so that's step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6 will come when I install the solar panels. And that's build the rack, mount them, dig the trench, put the wire in through the house, over to the inverters, and then that's 5. 6 will be firing them up, getting them working, actually running this whole thing off of solar, which is going to be so cool. I'm just really looking forward to that. And that's probably going to be, I hope, by the end of the summer. I still have a chicken coop to build and some other projects. So anyway, that's it for the video part. I don't know how people walk around with a camera and do work with one hand. I cannot do that. That's not, I don't know how people do that. But I'm alone. Everything I do is alone. All the wire, you try pulling 6 number 4 wires through a conduit alone. It doesn't work. You Pulling wire requires two people, somebody pushing and somebody pulling. When you're just pulling, you're yanking everything off the wall. So that was a nightmare. Same with under the house, another nightmare. So I do all this alone, and it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. So signing off for now, and there's going to be a slideshow. You don't have to watch any of this if you don't want. I'll tell you what, I'm doing this because when I leave this planet, my kids are going to have to sell it. And when they sell it, I guarantee you the guy who buys it, he's going to want to know what all this shit is. And I got a lot of stuff going on. I got trenches, and wait till you see the chicken coop video. Oh my God. I got wires. I got stuff going everywhere. And believe me, if I bought this house and saw all this, I'd want to know what's going on here. Even if I couldn't do it myself, I'd want to give it to the electrician and say, what's this all about? So if you want to watch this video, great. If you don't, great. Whatever. Okay. Thanks. Okay, this is my version of, holding a camera and working at the same time. That's not going to happen. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little slideshow. This is where I decided to put the whole system. It's in the garage. The system's kind of noisy. You really wouldn't want this thing in your house. When it's cranking up, it makes a lot of noise. So the garage is perfect. I happen to have this spot right here to work on. So this is where I started. And I decided that I didn't want to hang all this heavy equipment, on the wall without getting the studs. So I use these horizontal 3/4 inch plywood strips to go across everything. And I hit the studs every 16 inches. So that way when I mount all this stuff, it's going to be basically hanging off the studs. I'm not using drywall lags, which I don't think is very safe with this much weight. I mean, this hardy boards alone are pretty heavy. Those are rock boards. So this is the inverters, and those little black things on the bottom are something I made on the CNC to hold the pipes straight. They're just little brackets that I made, and that bottom thing on the bottom there is a wire array for the 48 volt stuff. These are my two batteries that I got from Big Battery. And then these are the bigger, not bigger, they're a little bit smaller, but they're 100 amp hours each. And then this is just kind of wrapping things up. I put the conduit in. There's no wires in it yet. I just had to hang that all up first. Then I had to create like a wire loom of all 7 wires. And then pull them through the conduit. So, and then I had to wire up the boxes individually, and put the breakers in. That red one on the bottom is going to the generator. This is that main panel, transfer switch they call it. To transfer the power from the inverters to the house to the line. That's the input box to the inverters, and there's the wire hanging out. A little excess, but oh well. What am I going to do? I don't want to come up short. That'd be way worse. And that's going into the house. I just put the labels on it so I knew which was what at each end. That's going into the house again. Getting ready to wire it all up. Those big black things at the top is shrink tubing. I had to shrink that with a blowtorch. This is all wrapped up. It's all done. That's all done. And there's the system all done. So that's it. That's my slideshow. That's me. Okay, bye.